kicked off here. Okay, happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. Today's guest speaker, Michael Wiseman, is an absolute rock star. You guys are in for a treat. And with that, Michael, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend.
Okay, perfect. So, John, what should we use for time? Is this till
You've
we,
got
we
till 9:25. You got 20,
okay,
basically
17
20 minutes.
minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So I'm gonna go pretty fast because usually I've taught this before, but it usually takes a bit longer. But I think you guys are all rock stars, and we'll catch on it quick. And I'm gonna share the PDF with you. So I'm just gonna continue the conversation we had real quick last time that this kind of came up with the for sale by owner, the FSBO kind of concept that we use occasionally, which I don't really have anything prepared for this. This is just really, I'm going to just talk this out to you and you'll have the recording and you can play it back. So, but realize that when someone puts their house on Zillow, and John, I have screen share capability, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to share a screen and actually show you how this actually looks. And then I think some of the conversations will come out naturally as I explain it to you, as opposed to giving you a script for this. But this is very effective when you're talking to a for sale by owner. One, to get the appointment. Two, when you get the appointment, you want to sit down with them and kind of show them what marketing could look like versus what it does look like, what they have right now. Because the fact is, most sellers believe, right, John? They believe that they've done everything that we're going to do by putting it onto Zillow. And so we can show them pretty quickly it's not the case. So let me share a screen and then we'll pop over here to I did a Zillow this morning. I just to search. Here's a Zillow search, and I'll actually sit down with them sometimes if I can get it the appointment, or I'll do it on the phone with them and just talk this through. I'm searching right now in Lincoln, Maine, and if you do a Lincoln, Maine search, what you'll see is it show all these houses. Their house is not displayed here. Okay, for sale by owners do not display on the first search page. Interesting. So they think they're getting all the exposure in the world. Well, in order for it to display, what you have to do is go to more and actually click over here and go to by owner or other. If you
Hmm.
don't do that, then your house is getting missed. And so most people working on mobile devices or most shoppers are not professional agents. They don't know how to turn over every rock like we do and go to every site. So they're gonna miss it. Now, if you go to by owner, you'll see there is one right here. And I will often tell them that's kind of the first thing is first off, understand this is I understand why you believe this because Zillow wants the kind of the public to believe that they are the place to go, but it's only one of hundreds and hundreds of websites, maybe thousands, but certainly hundreds of websites people go to shop for homes. And when you the second point to this, if you go ahead and search this home, if you find it on realtor.com, it'll show off market. And we'll tell them that, it's interesting. I came across your home this morning on a search on Zillow, and what I noticed is that it's only listed there, and everywhere else it shows off market. And indeed, if you try to search this 26 Cobb CV, Lincoln, Maine, you'll find it's nowhere else listed. If you go to just the Google search, you'll see it's on Zillow and nowhere else. Everything else, it's going to be off market. And why this is because Zillow is a licensed broker in all 50 states. They're not taking listings.
Hmm.
Okay, they're not marketing your home. So if I'm speaking to a client, John, they're not marketing your property. Okay, why do they want your listing? They want your listing for one really interesting reason. It's part of their business model, and their business model is to generate calls from agents. And I asked them, like we did last week, John, are you getting more calls from homeowners looking to buy homes, individuals, or is it real estate agents?
Hmm.
They almost always say, they've always said, oh, real estate agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say that's interesting. That's what I would have guessed. Can I explain to you why that is? Because I have experience with Zillow. I have to have an account with them. And I go through this process that what Zillow's model is their model is to collect inventory, and they make their money when agents buy their leads or agents close on their homes. On your home, they wouldn't make any money on it necessarily because they don't get so on a closing per se because it's not a listed property. So they make the money. So they need your listing in order to essentially fill their website and generate leads for their agents. In fact, if you go to your listing right here on Zillow, this big blue button here, try to find your phone numbers. I scroll down here. It's very hard to see. I've already passed it. So I do that kind of deliberately. It's right over here, property owner. It's not your name. It does have your phone number, But believe me, everyone's clicking the big blue button right here. And that's what Zillow is all about, is the big blue button and to get you to speak to an agent. And if you go anywhere else, you're not even going to find it online. And once I have that conversation with them, then if I'm at the property, I'll go through, I'll say, do you mind if I show you how we market and sell homes and what's different about it? And usually I'll get an acknowledgement from that. But I'm gonna, so any questions on that? Let me stop there for a sec. I know I covered that really quick, trying to compress a lot. Pretty clear? John, do you see some potential there?
Yeah, Michael, what you're sharing is really, really good. I think you could slow down just a little bit because, I'd
Okay.
rather you go deep than
Yeah.
wide on this, but you're doing
Okay.
a great job. So keep going, please.
Okay. All right, good. But I wanted just to cover that because there really isn't much of a, my son Ben, when he makes these calls, he would actually call them and say, I was browsing on the internet and found your home from one of my clients. I see it's only up on Zillow and nowhere else. Was that intentional? Because you could put it elsewhere. It's a lot of work to do so, et cetera. And he'd get into a conversation and he would get invited out to see the house. That's one approach. My approach is typically more when I get out to the appointment to sit down and show them this. And so the reason I kind of want to rush through this is I want to show you my actual marketing point on my listing presentation, which I think will be valuable for some of you. I think maybe Joe has seen it at one point. But let me share my screen now with a different screen here, and I'll put this in the chat also. But when I sit down, so I'm still adopting it to John's 14 point, but my thing will essentially be the tour, the pricing, and then I'll sit down when we're ready. If I feel I have a seller that I'm with, remember we can list homes or we can
Michael,
list
could you make
sellers.
that screen a little bit larger?
I can, yeah. Okay.
There
There's
you go.
that.
That's
Okay. I always say two things, like to all my agents. You can list the property or you can list the seller. A lot of us list homes and don't list sellers. When you think about that, it'll make sense. So those are the ones that sit in the market forever, and it's hard to get price reductions from. We've all done it. I've done it more times than I want to admit. So if I feel that I have a seller and I'm ready to take that I'm ready to move ahead and show them what we do to get them the highest possible price. I've already had the pricing conversation before this. I tend to do that a little bit looser. I like the way John really goes out to become the pricing expert and the knowledge expert and just the someone that's the local economist of choice and all that kind of data. I in the past honestly have not done that, but I'm learning. But what I've always done, like John, if I said to you, John, what are you thinking that you need to be for your home to sell your house? I would have comps with me. Give me a
Yeah,
number.
500.
500. Okay. If that sounds right to me, that's within about 25 or $50,000 bracket. I'm going to go with that. John, that sounds right to me as well. And I've got the data here to show it. Right. And I agree with you on that. We're going to look at that. And I would say, John, we're going to actually, once we decide to move ahead, we don't need to settle on a price at this moment in time. We need to be in a range because our job is to get you into the highest possible range. So if it's 5 to 525 or 450 to 5, and they're in a range that I think I can sell it for, I'll go with that, and I'll take a decision away from them at this point sometimes, because sometimes sellers are most afraid, in my thinking, to lock in a price. That's what they're fearful of, and I want them to make one decision when I sit with them in front of them today, is that I'm the right person, the right team to sell your house at the top end of that range. And so sometimes I will just let them go. I won't not dial in an actual detailed price, but I won't spend as much time as other people will. But I'll get into this. When I'm in the right price range, I'll say, okay, perfect. Let me run through here what we're going to do to maximize your sale and drive your price as high as possible within that range, maybe even above with multiple offers. So start off with this, our basic listing presentation. I tell who we are, our property team, powered by eXp Realty. Just the only slide about the companies right here. We're in now. I get to update this even the 27 countries, 90,000 agents, 400 alone in Maine. It's now almost 500, and a powerful referral network. But most importantly, this is my team. So my team, this will be my, now, depending who's I grabbed my sons. Mine would be on that. It will be my picture there. This is really important on this slide. I make it very clear that we don't practice dual disclosure. even though it is legal in our state. So, John, when you hire me to sell your home, I'm going to represent you and only you in this transaction. Buyers that come in directly from the marketing I'll show you today uh, can purchase without an agent. They don't have to have an agent. There's no law or requirement for a buyer to have an agent. And if that's the case, there's no agent involved, and it'll save you potentially some money because that buyer won't be asking for any commission on your side. But we never represent them. I can do the paperwork for them, but I make it very clear that when the buyer speaks to me, it's like speaking to you, John. So I'm your representative. And I'll tell you, when I say that so many times, I would say half the time, maybe almost, I will hear a response saying, "Oh yeah, I like that because I had a transaction once and I wasn't sure who was working for who by the end." And that's just my feeling on dual disclose. You can take that as you guys want to run with it. I say we're very proactive. We guide you on all the repairs. We'll help you fill all the paperwork out. Obviously, we'll cross qualify every offer and et cetera. I'll spend a few minutes on this slide. Then I say we've got a marketing person. This is my son Ben, and I'm going to show you some examples of our marketing coming up in a couple minutes. But we're going to market your property to the degree that it will be seen much farther and much wider than, let's say, just on Zillow. And I have a little story I can tell there. I'm going to go, again, a little bit quick, so I'm going to get through these slides. But it's an auction effect, right? We all can appreciate, if you go to an auction and there's 3 people in the room, or you show up at the same auction, John, and there's 30 people in the room, and the same item is for sale, which would you expect to get the higher closed price?
More buyers.
Absolutely. More people come into the room, the higher the price is going to go up. That's our job today, is to get this in front of more buyers. That's our entire focus for marketing. So that's Ben's job. We've got a whole slew of buyer's agents as well. This is important. These buyer's agents, once they're representing you, but they're our team out and around us, and they will field every inbound call that comes in. Well, we'll work with every buyer agent in the entire MLS, reach out to them directly, and market to them. But I want to remind you that we will represent you and only you in this transaction. We've got a full TC team. These are all my kids, by the way. It's my other daughter, right? She's available in the office 9 to 5. You can reach her for any questions. She'll be in touch with you very frequently, keeping you apprised of what's happening on your listing every week with an update. All the paperwork, we dot our I's, we cross our T's, we leave nothing to chance. And that's our team. Now, I tell them, if you're just one agent that's trying to do this by yourself and you're running from place to place and you're in the car on the road, one agent is a principle I follow, that if you have to do everything, you end up not doing everything quite as well. And that's unfortunately the kind of the truth. Now, if you're a solo agent, you can adapt this to your situation as well, and you can easily flip that slide to benefit the solo agent. But this is what we use here. Our reviews and our clients say it best. This is our review page. It's pulled right off of our Google profiles. Probably how you found us, potentially. In many cases, that is the case. And so we're very, very proud of this. And our goal here is to get to take you to the final outcome, where you are going to also be eager to give us a 5-star review, and everything is based upon that. I want to show you some examples now of the kind of just really applications, because this is so important. Unless you see it, you never really understand it potentially. It's hard to grasp, but this is the picture of 2 different listings. Now, I alter this, John, depending who I'm going out to. This is one, I have multiple versions of this. I'm showing you this because on the previous one is the home when it didn't sell the first time. And we were called in to sell the home properly. The first one is an agent's picture with their iPhone. The second one is a professional photo of the same room. Right now, yes, the bedding and linens have changed, but nothing else in this room has changed. It's been probably about a year and a half later. So there were some changes to the property furnishings, but not to the house itself. It's incredible, isn't it? Look at the difference this makes. These are the same rooms. So, John, ask yourself, if you're scrolling and you're looking at photographs, which home would you rather go tour? This is the same property.
Wow.
Okay. Right. Again, the same kitchen.
Wow.
Okay. It really just, it's not just where you put the camera, it's who's behind the camera. And John, we only use professional photography for all of our listings, as we will with yours as well. Okay. Also, this may or may not apply in the situation, so I'll vary it. If the home is a new build, or they've moved out, or it's empty, John, we will stage the home. But this is a virtually staged photograph. The left is the original photograph. and the right is virtually furnished. We will put both on the MLS. We will not deceive anybody, but we know that visualization and seeing something in your mind is so important so they can picture it in their minds, and then they come see it and they see the spaciousness when they get there. They know it's going to be empty. It's the best of both worlds. You get how it's furnished and you can see how much room you've got. So isn't that incredible? And I show them that. That's right out of Box Brownie, by the way. Now, as far as presentation and marketing, John, YouTube, we're all over YouTube. We're approaching 2,000 subscribers right now. We're doing videos not just about listings and properties, but living in Maine, the lifestyle in Maine, the questions that people ask about buying and selling homes. But what the point I want to drive home here is on this next slide. If you look here, in the last, this is an older slide, I have to update it. There's over 11,000 views in a 90-day period. But this is the number I like to point out. Over 800 hours of watch time in 90 days on our YouTube channel.
Wow.
149,000 impressions, but 800 hours of people watching the content on our site, which will include your property as well, to really learn, to drive this path. Remember, John, we're talking about an auction here. Do we want 30 people, 100 people, or do we want 11,000 people to be at this auction? You see the benefit of that. Okay. Okay. This is actually a video. It will play, but I won't play the whole thing now. And I'll change this up.
Let's put a pause right. Okay. If you
and I'll run a couple of video examples for short. John, we're also doing video campaigns, not just about the properties we're selling, but about Maine in general. We're attracting buyers to the marketplace because I feel that my job doesn't start when you sign today as a listing agent with me. My job starts 6 months ago, a year ago, attracting buyers, knowing that I have the properties to come see. So we start marketing properties even before they show up.
Michael,
yep.
Can you hear me? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Let's pause right there. That was awesome. If you could take share down, I'm going to change to gallery and we'll get some questions in here.
Yeah. Can I run through two more, just real quick, 2 more slides?
Okay, go for it.
Okay, I do that. I show them we do a Matterport. It's recorded on my screen, so I'm just gonna click that. That's incredible. I do it for single wide trailers. I have 2 of the cameras. I show them that we market for properties like theirs all the time. It's just an example of ads we're running all the time to generate leads for waterfront properties. I show them that every property gets its own ad with a click or text to call number that rings the agents. No lead gets missed. Everything lead gets uncovered. I show them how much we spend on advertising. This is almost $20,000 year to date just spent on marketing your property and properties like yours. I show them that if you search us on Google, we're #1. I pick up my phone, John, and I have a search right here. Okay, I do it live, right? There we are, #2 in Maine on Google. I show them all the leads. We track every call that comes in, John. Every call, nothing gets missed. And if it's not working, we'll adjust it, right? And then I tell them, I look at them, John, right now I'll stop the share. And I say, John, this might sound incredible, but for everything I just showed you, all we charge is the kind of the going rate of 3%.
All righty. Holy cow.
And I just nod like this.
That was
3.5%. I just nod and they nod. Price never comes up again.
I'll lead the question. So
yeah,
I love the side-by-side pictures, by the way. Do you show them examples of a property that was for sale by owner using the for sale by owner photos versus the photos that you use?
Yeah, so that'll be customized, before we go out, depending on the product, if it's close, but we have multiple expireds, FSBOs, whatever, all that stuff. Yeah.
All right, guys, if you have a question, raise your digital hand, please. There's 40 of us in the room here, so let's get as many questions in as we can. Let's go.
And then, by the way, the next question is, John, I got my calendar. When are you ready for photos?
There you go.
And they just book it.
Yeah. What percentage of the time would you say that you get an answer with "let's schedule the photos for blank"? Versus
if I've taken this presentation out because I have a seller, 95%.
95% of the time. There you go.
Yeah, we don't lose. So I don't always take it out, right? If I haven't got to the point where I realize I don't have a seller here, so to speak, that we're not on terms with, then I'm not going to go this far.
All right. And Matthew, coming right to you here in a moment, but I'm going to share something with you guys really quick. So if you look at the outline that I've given you for listing mastery, Uh, There we go. So where Michael was spending most of his time was right here, right after the
Mhm.
trial close and
Mhm.
service. So if you're looking for, okay, how do I customize marketing? How do I customize service? Even pricing strategy, it's all in his PowerPoint. So he's taking care of that. That's part of your 14-point listing presentation right there, Michael. So
Yeah, I
awesome.
just kind of flipped the whatever. I'll do pricing before because it just for me, this is my strongest point. I know the capabilities of who I compete against in my market,
Love
and I
it.
know that no one else in my price level has two 3D cameras, which isn't that expensive, guys. I can teach a 10-year-old to do 3D photos. It's easier than regular photos.
All right, so Matthew and then JW. What's up, Matthew?
Can you do the cold call to the FISBO one more time?
Well, the call with the FISBO is gonna start off just like with John's script, right? I
Take us
see your
through
home.
it, Michael. Take us through it, Michael.
Um, well,
I'll
but
be the consumer.
okay. So I would say ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, this is Mike Wiseman speaking, eXp Realty, local real estate expert, and also an investor. And I noticed that you have a home listed for sale up on Zillow, and I was curious if that home has sold yet.
No, it has not.
Okay, so if curiosity, I'm a real estate agent. If I were to bring you a full price offer for the property, okay, would you want me to do that?
Well, yeah. Do you have an offer?
That's a great question, and it's usually I won't know until I've had a chance to come out and take a look at the property.
Okay.
But let me break in here, Michael.
Yeah,
I think you have a
yeah,
great opportunity using your strength here. I love
right.
the question, right? So I think the next question I would ask him after you mentioned that you found this property on Zillow is how are showings?
Yeah, that would
Are
make
you
sense.
getting mostly buyers or are you getting mostly
Yeah,
real estate agents? We're getting mostly real estate agents. Can I share with you
yeah,
who that is? I think it's a perfect lead in right to
yeah. I like that.
where your strength zone is. Okay, JW, you're up.
Cool
No,
with
you're
the,
muted, JW.
oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. You did something really cool with like the mapping of where you're getting calls from.
Mhm.
How are you tracking that? Are you doing that manually? What
That comes in through one of the CRMs that we would use. So it's just a map, it's just a heat map of where inquiries are coming in from.
and then are you
It's follow
personally
boss.
mapping that
It was
on
followed by
that screen that you showed?
what is
Or
it?
is your CRM doing that, or are you personally mapping that then
CRM,
on
and
the
I'm
screen?
just screenshotting it. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like Matt said, it's a report from Follow Up Boss. You can
Oh, okay.
generate. Yeah.
There you go. I use Follow Up Boss as well. Love it. Sean, you're up next.
Thanks. Mike, when you do have someone that is looking to put an offer on your property,
Mhm.
you mentioned you don't do dual agency. What,
Correct.
what do you do with that buyer in that case?
Unrepresented buyer. Our brokerage EXP's got an incredible form for that. It just says that I represent the seller, you represent yourself. We suggest you get legal counsel and advice. Everything you say to me is like talking to the seller, and there's no obligation. A lot of sellers, I've had many sellers do it, $3 million properties, because a lot of them are business owners and entrepreneurs. They come in thinking they can do it better than the agent anyway.
Great idea.
Yeah.
So,
If they do want representation, do you just refer them to an outside agent
correct,
then?
correct. I'll either refer them to an agent, or they'll go and they'll go and find their agent. But the agent won't be on my immediate like my structure, my standard team. It'll be another EXP agent perhaps, or potentially, hopefully, but it won't be because that's still dual disclosed in my market if it's a team member of mine.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
So Joe asked, why not give the buyer to a team member?
He just answered that
Yeah,
with in
yeah. In
Maine,
my
that's
market,
dual
it's considered
disclosure.
it's considered to be dual. We still need all the dual disclosed paperwork because they all come to me for questions. So it's like it ends up being. Uh,
So it's the market. It's just different where you are, right?
I mean, it's that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the market, but I think under the EX, if you have a team leader and a team and team members, by definition, I'm on every contract.
Okay.
So it's like it's already like my deal,
Okay.
and so I just feel it's not You know, we will charge sometimes, like the new commission structures have changed. We all know that. So I used to say, all we charge for everything I just showed you is a regular 6%, nothing extra. I always say nothing extra. Now we say the 3.5% because we're not paying the buyer side, and that'll be a different conversation. But it's the same premise.
All right, guys, I've got 9:33. That was awesome.
Yeah, sorry, I went all long. I know it's a lot to squeeze in, so I apologize.
Raise your hand if you got massive value today. There you go. Look at that. Look at that.
In the chat, it's the presentation, guys, in PDF. If you don't get it, I can put it up tomorrow too, but it's in the chat. What I just showed you is there. So
all right, everybody, download that because I got to jump. Make it a great day, everybody. See everybody tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We hit 40 today, so kudos. And yeah, I know that includes our AI people. So thank you, robots, for showing up. All right, make it a great day, everybody.